and are incredibly tactile. They might not like showing displays of affection in public, but they make up for it behind closed doors. Even when I've just met them, they'll be keen to sit on my lap.
Girl, run. Hey friends, so I thought of doing something different. I've been really curious like what other expats on YouTube have to say, and some of them are really good. Like I don't really have much to say critically against people that are just sincere, they're trying, they're giving advice, even if they do things that I don't really necessarily agree with too much. I'm not gonna like criticize those type of guys, but but there's like some that are out there and they're just like the things that they say are just completely wild. And I got a good one for you, and it's called Things You Need to Know About Dating Filipinas in the Philippines by Bigg World Cinema. And first minute in, I could already tell that, I wasn't going to like what he had to say. But it got way, way, way worse. And the whole time, I just couldn't find anything I quite agreed with. So let me just dismantle this right in front of you guys. So let's go.
Now, when you chose your first wife, Daphne, back home in the West, friends or family didn't advise you, be careful with your decision making. Be careful who you choose is a common expression in the Philippines. Blurted out by total strangers on the street you've never met before, as if a number of Filipinas are wrong-uns. Being asked, are you single? 20 times a day, even before you're asked your name. To which I respond, yes, still searching. Take your time, they say. Don't settle with the first one you meet. Choose wisely. Searching, however, comes with a Filipina health warning, as you're kicking Filipina legs like used car tyres. Only 10 previous owners. Buyer beware. All Filipinas are scammers. Don't worry. I'm not going to settle for the first Filipina who admits undying love for me. I've only been here 5 years.
Yeah, so first minute in, like, we're already comparing Filipinas to cars. Like, really, like, judging by his age and his head, it looks like the tread on his tires are already bald. So, like we're talking about mileage, but you're looking like you just got off the highway after 40 years of a road trip. So like, this is the kind of mindset that makes me avoid most expats is, like the entitlement, the disrespect, the complete lack of self-awareness. Like you're not shopping for a car, you're dealing with a human being and you're trying to have a relationship with this human being. So, like I don't think that time equals wisdom. But let's just hear what he has to say after 5 years of living there.
I'm not that stupid. Now, I wish I'd known these things I'm going to talk about when I first started dating Filipinas 5 years ago. It would have saved me a lot of grief, and I might still have hair. Hello, good morning, good evening, and welcome to Bigg World Cinema. Without further ado, we'll continue with what you're here for. Westerners, foreigners, expats, whatever you want to call them, having ended their lives in their home country, arrive in the Philippines seeking to start afresh with a fresh Filipina, knowing nothing about Filipinas or the Philippines, just armed with the knowledge that Filipinas don't care about your age or what you look like, apparently. So in the West, a guy's girlfriend, wife, partner wasn't the focus of his life. But when they move to the Philippines, he makes his new young trophy the focus for his remaining days, as if she's all to live for. So I recently produced a video about the perfect age of Filipinas to date. The majority of girls I've dated here have been younger than 30, older than that, and I find them pretty jaded, in my opinion.
So like he says that women over 30 are jaded, but we're just going to pretend like he didn't sound jaded these past 3 minutes. So like, maturity isn't just about age, it's about experience. And typically experience requires that time. So you can't expect a 22-year-old to be at the same emotional level as someone that's lived longer than that at 30. Honestly, like it takes being mature to recognize maturity. So if you're out there dating 22-year-olds and you're complaining that they're immature, maybe it's not just them.
Now, if you're going to date a Filipina less than 30, you need to make sure she's mature. As I've said before, maturity works both ways. You'll find Filipinas under 30 lack maturity, but you can also find Filipinas at 22 who are pretty mature already. The age of my longest relationship with a Filipina was 22. Filipina time, you've probably heard of this. How did Filipina time become a thing? How is lateness ever acceptable? Do not allow her Filipina time. Being late is rude, inconsiderate. My old man instilled the importance of being on time from a young age. If I'm running late myself, I start to panic. Do not allow her to be late. She can only be late if her period starts in the jeepney on the way, or she gets a call saying her buffalo has died. That is it. You need to be firm from the start. If you're going to be more than 15 minutes late, do not bother. Turn around.
Like, welcome to the Philippines, bro. I mean, like, this guy's complaining about Filipinas being late. He just doesn't get it. I mean, from an outsider's perspective, like, yeah, it can be frustrating. Our culture is like boom, 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 boom. And it just like, that's just not the way the rest of the world operates. And you can actually, instead of like looking at it as a comparison, like that one is better than the other, but it's kind of refreshing to know that there's not that much pressure on you to like be perfectly on time. Like it is kind of a nice weight off your shoulders that everyone's just a little bit more relaxed about that. So, not every Filipino is late. I mean, just make an effort to understand the culture. Like, most people don't stress about it the way that foreigners do. Like, what if she's nervous, like, or dealing with family stuff, or there's traffic? Like, I mean, what else you got to do? I mean, just wait, chill, like, be understanding. Like, if she never shows, like, just send her a quick text, like, hey, like, no hard feelings. I wish you the best. Like, you'll be surprised. Like, most of the time, if she's genuinely interested, she's gonna reach out later. Like, you can look at them as like an investment, not a deal breaker. So, like, if you just start throwing a tantrum over waiting, you're just proving that you're not worth their time.
Before we became a couple, my Filipina girlfriend would journey from the provinces an hour away to meet me in IT Park. I'd say, text me when you're near, so I could walk there in 10 minutes. Only she never would. She'd just text when she arrived saying, I'm here. Jesus.
Yeah, so, like, he's, like, super salty about waiting. So, like, he's mad that she didn't text him like 10 minutes before she arrived. Like, Filipinas budget the load on their phone, like, so they don't have the luxury like you do, like, of having unlimited data and just sending 10 minutes away, like it's some Uber Eats or something like that. Like, what's worse than not getting a text 10 minutes before is not getting a text at all, like, because her load ran out and she has no way to reach you and she doesn't know how to meet you because she's standing there looking for you, can't call you, and you're thinking that she blew you off. So you just don't know. Like, your biggest frustration in dating is whether or not she texts you early is just, you're not ready for the relationship, so just get over it.
Or place yourself in a coffee shop or bar where you're happy to wait for 2 hours. I once waited 2 hours in IT Park for a Filipina before I got wise. 2 friggin' hours waiting. What time are we meeting? Later. What time? I hate flakiness where I'm waiting around all day not knowing whether we're meeting or not. Just tell me a time. Then I can plan my day around that time. Rather than not knowing whether it's actually going to happen or not, just friggin' tell me. So if we're not meeting, I can arrange a date with Rosie Palmer and her 5 sisters instead. Don't let them bring their family. Look, I know Filipinos are asked to bring a friend, which is understandable.
I'm just gonna let this play a little bit longer.
Don't let them take advantage of you. Sure, I've been there before a couple of times where I've bought a date and her friend a meal, but some Filipinos take the piss, sense a kind-hearted foreigner, and bring their whole family and barangay members to dine at the foreigner's expense. Unless you're planning on getting serious with a lady, I suggest not buying them all caviar and heading to Jollibee instead. Although I did meet a foreigner in Cebu who was taken to the cleaners in Jollibee.
Okay, so, like, before I get into that, like, he's definitely got an issue with Filipino time. Like, he's been ranting over it for like 4 minutes into this video. Instead of freaking out about it, just make sure you're not the one that's late. I mean, just usually, sometimes, like, the way that you act, sets the tone that they follow. So, like, be patient, understanding, lead by example. Like, if you show up on time and you're cool about it, and over time, like, the right person will naturally just start matching your energy. Like, but if you're just coming off irritated and demanding, like, you've already lost it. Like, imagine being upset for 10 minutes and it messes with your head and you just are not in a good mood for the rest of the hour that you have with her. Like, just be grateful, dude. Like, I just, being on time is nice, but what's better is being someone that people want to show up for. That's what really matters. Like, the guys acting like Filipinas are just, like, taking advantage of him and bringing his whole family and stuff like that. I've personally not really had that experience that she's brought a whole family. If she's doing that, yeah, like, that's a red flag. But, like, if it's just one friend, like, it's totally fine. Like, you're in control. It's your money. You get to say. If not, you can even pivot. You could be like, hey, I didn't realize, like, you're probably not hungry, right? Like, maybe we can just get some, like, bubble tea or something like that. So you can control the money flow really easily. And you can even go down to a market and, like, get something that's way cheaper than the mall or something like that. Like, you're in control, like, the whole time. You can just pivot and make it seem like, it's spontaneous or something like that when you might get a vibe that she's wanting to take advantage of your money. Like, just see it as an opportunity. Like, make, when the friend's there, like, make a really good impression. Like, just say, like, that's just how, like, they'll trust you more, is if the friend approves. But, just be careful, like, if you come off as too strong and too funny or charming to that friend, now that girl's going to start thinking that you're hitting on her instead of your date. Unless that's the move, unless, like, you find the other one really attractive and you find the personality better or something like that, then yeah, shoot your shot. But in all seriousness, be respectful, be cool, and just make sure that the girl you're actually there for just knows that you're focused on her.
Bit stupid, really. Allowed the girl's family to buy extra stuff to take home with them. You need to be clear from the start. And if she does insist on you feeding the whole family, tell her you're not doing that unless all her sisters are prepared to turn tricks. If she does turn up alone, say at a coffee shop or diner, I suggest you sit down with her first before ordering anything. Say, spend the first 10 minutes with her, seeing how she reacts towards you. If during that first 10 minutes, she sat staring gormlessly at her phone like her life depended on it, not giving you any attention, I'd just get up and walk away. Just leave her sitting there. Also, a gauge of a good Filipina is asking her to choose the restaurant. If a potential date chooses like a Michelin star restaurant, I'll be inclined to reject her, as she's clearly only interested in emptying your wallet. Seeing dating profile photos all shot in fancy restaurants or saying she likes being spoiled.
So yeah. It's like you're in control. You're the one that gets to agree or not agree to it, and you can do it in such a easy and gentle way. I almost agreed with him, but he just took it in a completely wrong direction. I mean, he would test her by making her sit there with him and not order the food. And of course she's going to look at her phone. She's nervous. You're not ordering food. You're being weird. You're kind of strange. Like, she doesn't know what to say. Maybe this is his first time meeting a foreigner and you're just staring at her, like testing her or whatever. Like, psychologically, if you're just sitting across and someone's feeling really nervous, like it's kind of this intimidating thing. And it's no longer fun for her. So like, if you don't feel like, it's worth getting a meal, or you suspect like she's not worth, paying for because she's might take advantage of you, feel it out. Like, go get up and go on a walk. I mean, it's way better to like walk beside someone that like is more like a friend or a family member than, like an interview kind of an antagonistic kind of way. I mean, dude, like, come on. I mean, the thing is he's worried about women getting like a free meal. Well, I just like Western women online are confessing that they do every day, just scheduling dates so they don't have to pay for food, and they're budgeting by using men to pay for their meals. Like, you're complaining about something that other women do culturally in a different country, and typically women there don't do it. Like, the truth is that a lot of Filipinas, they've told me this, is that they eat at home before they go on a date with you, because they're actually like, they're guilty for letting you pay for them. They don't want to take advantage of you. It's the opposite. Now, some, yes, but a lot like are actually really kind, and they'll just like eat something at home before because they're just trying to save money. And part of the mindset too is a lot of them tell me that their Filipino boyfriends don't pay for anything at all. So they're the ones culturally paying for their boyfriends' food and stuff like that. And so if they've never been on a date with a foreigner, they just don't have that expectation that you're going to pay for them. They have the expectation in their minds that they're going to be the ones paying. So, just try to understand the culture, dude. Like, not everything is a scam. Like, maybe it's just being humble.
Here's a swift swipe left. She's not going to wash with me. She's not going to be interested in a man of my saliva. Oh yeah. Never tell anyone.
I don't understand what a man of my saliva means. Like, does that mean like out of my league? It's weird.
Going out on a date tonight. Because the chances are it's not going to happen, and she won't turn up. So don't jinx it by telling me.
So this dude just like admitted that 5 years in the Philippines, like his, biggest takeaway is women aren't showing up to his dates. Like, bro, if like you've been here for half a decade and you still can't figure out a woman to get her to show up, like maybe you're just not qualified to give dating advice.
And if she doesn't turn up, always have a backup Filipina in reserve you can call and say you've cleared your schedule to meet her instead. Whatever you do not say you're going out on a date and you've been blown out. I do love Filipina's style of dressing. Filipinas tend to dress down to their skimpy shorts, with prance around my condo just wearing their underwear.
So yeah, skimpy shorts, prancing around in underwear. Like, what kind of Filipinas are you attracting? Like, the women I date, like they show up really classy. Like, they put in effort. Like, they respect themselves for the occasion.
It's beneficial to say that the AC isn't working, so they get hot or hotter. Most Filipinas get comfortable with you very.
So yeah, so he apparently he has to create scenarios to get them to take off their clothes. So that's what's going on in his mind, is that he has to think of like manipulative ways to get to sleep with them. So he's saying that he doesn't turn the aircon on so they get themselves to take off their clothes. Like, this dude's not looking for a relationship. He's just speed running for an STD.
And are incredibly tactile. They might not like showing displays of affection in public, but they make up for it behind closed doors. Even when I've just met them, they'll be keen to sit on my lap.
Girl, run. Like, seriously, run. Like, listen, if this girl, I hope she made it out safely, but if for any Filipinos watching, if a man talks like this, take my advice and just order the most expensive thing on the menu and just ditch him. Like, you have my endorsement. Just ditch this guy.
I got jiggy with my 22-year-old girlfriend. We'd be lying cuddling on the bed, and she'd just fiddle with my John Thomas, which was kind of weird. It wasn't a sexual thing or didn't lead to that. She'd just like playing with it, as if she was stroking a hamster. Reminded me of my old man who used to sit watching TV, twiddling with his hair. Then after I got together with her, we'd sit watching Netflix, and she'd sit at the table.
So he just connected his girlfriend playing with his crotch to his dad. I don't even know what to say. Like, this dude doesn't need a dating coach. Like, he just needs a therapist. And I mean, like, look at her. She's classy. Like, that's the type of girl that, like, she's well put together. She's got a great smile. Like, that's somebody that's worth even a second date. And I'm not even talking about sleeping with them. Like, she just looks like that she's well put together, and she seems like a nice girl.
Their clinginess is a good and bad thing. Often I'd be stood at the kitchen counter cooking or doing the washing up, and my Filipino would just come up behind me and wrap her arms around me, which was very endearing. Filipinas are insanely jealous ladies, or maybe just insane. Before we got together, my Filipino girlfriend...
No, he's trying to diagnose all Filipinos as jealous. Like, that's just not what's happening. Like, Filipinos aren't jealous, they're cautious. Like, and it's because they've told me that their Filipino boyfriends have cheated. So, not all of them, but it's a common issue. It's not uncommon for a guy to have a main girl and a side girl. And a lot of Filipinos have been burned by that. So by the time that a girl is interested in a foreigner, it's because that they've been hurt locally and they're wanting to go seek something outside of their country. That's usually what I hear a lot. Yeah, they're just, it's not jealousy for no reason. They just don't want to go through that pain again.
I think that my going to the mall was a euphemism for going to meet girls. So when I went to the Metro supermarket in Cebu that was located in Ayala Mall, I'd always feel guilty. Would whiz around doing my shopping in double quick time in case she texted or called and asked where I was at that precise moment. She had terrible trust issues. For example, I'd be at my condo in Cebu and she'd be at her parents' home in the province, and she'd ask me to send her a photograph of the food I was preparing, which I did. Old photo? She'd ask. No. Then she'd send an image of her doing a thumbs up and ask me to copy that pose and take a photograph again with my head over the frying pan. The first time I obliged her, but never again. Clearly not.
Yeah, like, this girl's smart. Like, she's doing like photo verification. It's like pose in a specific way to make sure it's not old. Like, someone's done this to her before. She's been burned before. Like, if she's making you do all that, it's just because guys she's dated, like, has lied to her in the past, and he's one of them. And just judging by his attitude, I just don't think he's that much different than the boyfriends that she's been with before.
If you like what you're seeing here and want to stay connected with life in the Philippines, I think you need to subscribe and click the notification bell. Thank you.
If you think this guy sucks and you like what I have to say and you want to take real advice from someone that actually respects women more, subscribe to me, because I'm actually just trying to help guys get really good, potential wives someday. And I want to make sure that I'm part of the solution, not the problem. And let's encourage each other to have a better culture when it comes to expats living the Philippines. So yeah, like and subscribe, hit the bell, do what you gotta. Thanks.
Filipinos have an issue with how long you've been in the Philippines. By saying you've been here for 6 months already, they automatically assume you've slept with the entire country. I'd planned to meet a Filipina in Manila the previous weekend, but she wanted to chat with me on video call first. When I said I've been living here for 5 years already, she clearly showed she wasn't happy about that and almost had a fit.
Yeah. So she almost had a fit, but he's probably not telling the full story. It's like way more likely that he lied, and he conveniently left out some details before, and his timeline's off. And that reaction just doesn't come out of nowhere. Like, that's just how it is.
Didn't bother me. I'm glad we video chatted before meeting, and she wasn't all that anyway. My Filipina girlfriend asked me how many Filipinas I'd met already. By met, she meant slept with, as yet again, Filipinas assume that every date's going to end with a happy ending. One, I lied.
Yeah, so he like, just right there, he admits that he lies.
The girl's name, wanting to check her out on Facebook, but I wouldn't tell her. Filipinas are like amateur sleuths, delving into your head or possessions, looking for clues to what you might be up to. One day we were out walking, and she asked who Cara or Sarah is. I don't know. Why'd you ask? You mentioned one or the other in your sleep, she said. I don't know a Cara or Sarah, I said. She didn't believe me. But you're still on the dating websites, she'd say. Which I wasn't. I'd stopped doing that when we got together. Do you want your Filipina girlfriend to live with you 24/7? Debatable. Sure, the companionship is great, but their constant presence is at times suffocating. For half the time we were dating, my Filipina was without work, so she spent each day perched on my shoulder, watching me work at my laptop. Filipina's clinginess means you can't be out of their sight, needing to give them attention 24/7. You're on their watch now, whether you like it or not. There ain't no me time anymore. Filipinas resent you having any me time, i.e. that time.
Yeah, so, I love clingy. Like, Filipinas are naturally affectionate. They're caring. They want to be around you, even if they're not talking to you. And if that's a problem for you, maybe you're just antisocial. I mean, contrast that with the Western women where they're not that affectionate. They're not very caring. And, you want to trade that for that? I mean, why are you even in the Philippines if you don't like that? Like, for me, I'm like, please bother me, you know? Like, I enjoy that.
Purely for me, not you. During my me time, I love reading my book or going to the gym or watching porn or going to the pub with my mates to watch dancing girls. Filipinas don't really have me time because...
If you listen to all that, he just was like, me. Like, me.
She wants to be with me all the time. But when she has me time, she wants to involve me. Her me time is spent making TikTok videos, expecting me to watch her me time, not wanting me out of her sight. And me doesn't want that. You need to make sure you put your foot down and insist on having your own time and space away from her. Otherwise, you'll start resenting her presence, like what happened to me. One weekend, my Filipina went to see her parents in the province. But that evening, there was a knock on my condo door. She had her own key, but she still knocked. I was actually telling the truth, and she didn't believe me. I'd get annoyed. Why would I lie about liking a film or not? It didn't make any sense. There was always something wrong. If I asked a question, she'd always react suspiciously or negatively. Even a simple question after she'd prepared food, like, who cooks this food at her home, would be answered, why? Is it bad? At least getting a reaction from her is better than getting no reaction, I guess. I learned about tempo the hard way. Like, what the fuck is happening? Why is she not talking to me? Have I said something wrong?
You know, he's talking like about tempo, like it's some kind of mysterious, unique Filipino phenomenon. Like, in my opinion, like it just doesn't exist. Like, women everywhere do this, and it's, you know, usually how women express their frustration. There's a lot of conflict avoidance that women will navigate through, and they'll just not share fully what they're feeling at the moment. And he just doesn't know how to handle women, period.
I had no idea that tempo was actually a thing. But yeah, you don't know what you've done wrong, and she's not talking to you. She's ignoring you. Now mute, shut down, no communication, no comeback. My worst nightmare, really. You're now in the doghouse. I don't know how to deal with it. I should just walk away and let them...
Yeah, so like, this dude just told on himself again. Like, he's out there making a whole video about dating Filipinas, and he doesn't even know how to handle a relationship himself. Like, it's like taking swimming lessons from someone who just keeps drowning. Like, he's complaining that they're too clingy, but then he's mad that they're not talking to him. So when she's affectionate, that's a problem. But then when she pulls away, that's also a problem. Like, do you even know what you want?
But I carry the broodiness with me and can't shake it off. It affects my mood. The not knowing. It'll be so much easier if she'd just say what you've done wrong, but she won't, as she's not speaking to you. You're now tuned into radio silence. It's very childish, like a teenage strop. Tell her there's going to be no tempo in my house, otherwise she's out.
Like, that is childish. Like, to say, you know, if I'm uncomfortable with your feelings and the way I'm feeling from you right now, so if you don't stop, then I'm gonna kick you out. Like, listen to yourself. Like, he's admitting that he doesn't know how to keep a date. He doesn't know how to handle emotions. He just shuts her down, just makes her feel disposable. And the alternative is going back to your own country, and you're just constantly berated and nagged at for tiny little things. I mean, I had an ex in the US where she's literally looking for problems. Like, I would be writing with a pen, and I actually bought like a set of pens that my ex had because I really liked them. And I'm writing with my own pen, and she walks in, and she's just like really, really, really upset that I was using her pen. And she had no idea that I thought that I liked her pens and I bought my own. Like, she's getting upset over pens. And I had to like prove that I purchased the pens so she could like stop. And she didn't even like apologize. Like, that was just it. And then one time, like in the morning, she walks in and she like, come here. And I'm like, okay. And then she points at the sink and she's like, what's this? And I'm like, a plate. And she's like, well, whose plate is that? And I was like, I think it's yours. And then she's like, no, like, it's yours. Like, you made a mess or whatever. And I'm like, no, I haven't had breakfast. Like, I just walked to my office to get my job done. I haven't eaten. I haven't drank coffee. Like, I was like, can I ask you something? She's like, what? And I'm like, did you eat breakfast? And she goes, yes. And I was like, well, I see avocado on that plate. Did you eat avocado this morning? And then she just like washed her own plate, but she didn't even apologize. And you can see where that led. But yeah, do you want that kind of attitude, or do you want like the ones that are silent? Because I'd rather pick the ones that are silent. You know, like it's more peaceful that way.
Although other commenters have suggested tempo. There's your meat.
Yeah, like the commenters are more self-aware than he is. Like, they're telling him like, yeah, that's your me time. Like give her some space, let her chill out, and then you chill out. Like, you antagonizing her, threatening to kick her out, it's just, yeah, your relationship's gonna end.
To please click the thumbs up button if you liked the video, or thumbs down button if you didn't. Obviously. Thank you. After being together for 5 months, I finished with my Filipina. I couldn't handle the constant grief. So now I was single again and back on the dating apps. After 3 months making crass communication with illiterate Filipinas with illegitimate kids, I got back with my ex-girlfriend. So now we were having an unserious relationship, like a casual relationship, with sleepovers at the weekend and sometimes during the week.
Yeah, so...
She wasn't into that. Filipinas want all or nothing. They want the full Monty, not the half-assed. Not wanting to be used for sex anyway. They'd rather get paid for it.
Yeah, so yeah, he got back with his ex, but to keep it casual. So that's what he really wanted the whole time, which is manipulative. Like, he knew that she wanted something serious, but instead of letting her move on, he pulled her back on his own terms. Like, yeah.
I don't think I'll date another Filipina that age again. The jealousy, the silent conversations, the almost 40-year age gap, too many cultural and...
Yeah, he's doing himself a favor and taking himself out of the equation for us men. Like, if there's a 40-year age gap, bro, the difference between you and your Filipina is literally a whole middle-aged adult. That's wild. Like, if your age gap is old enough to have a mortgage and kids on their own, maybe, like, you're just not gonna vibe with that girl. Like, you're in a completely different time period than them. Like, yeah, but honestly, like, that's it. That's basically the video. And that turned into more of a self-expose than dating advice. But if you made it this far, I apologize. But yeah, no, I just want to hear from you. Like, what are your thoughts? You know, do you agree, disagree? You know, drop a comment. Let's actually talk about it. My format isn't just like reacting to, you know, expats like this. You know, I just want to have like a real conversation. I want to create a culture where we're actually treating Filipinas right, and we're actually their date to marry. And we're learning to adapt to the culture and respect each other's values. And if that's something that you're all about too, and you're just looking for a good woman and that treats you right and you treat her right, you know, it's a simple and beautiful thing, but it's really rare to find. And yeah, let's help each other out with that, because I'm still single, and you know, I'm looking for that myself. And you know, guys like this is the reason why I don't hang out with other expats, because this is just the same kind of mindset where they just don't get it. They really don't get it. Like, it's really hard to find a good one. And it just makes it even harder when you meet a Filipina that just got burned by another expat. But yeah, let me know what you think. And yeah, thanks guys.